Discovery Channel.
Tis the season. Retailers want you in the door, opening your wallet and buying their brands. The question on their minds, what makes one person hand over their hard-earned cash while another hangs on to it?
Anything that we watch, we see, we hear, we listen, we touch, we taste, we smell. Well, finally, it all ends up in the brain. So, if only we could know what persuades us.
This upstart research firm in Berkeley, California is working on an answer. Instead of looking at what happens in the mall, they're looking deep into the consumer's brain.
Neuromarketing is just using science to understand what motivates us and what makes us who we are and what makes us behave in certain ways.
A.K. Pardeep is the founder of NeuroFocus, the biggest neuromarketing company of its kind. His enthusiasm is obvious and contagious.
All the highs we need, we get in at work every day. The action happens in the brain, and we are as close to it as we possibly can.
This team of neurophysiologists and scientists is working to measure the human brain.
We directly reach into the brain to understand how the consumer feels about your ad and your brand and your product.
First, they invite a pre-screened consumer to the office. The setup is pretty straightforward. The sensors measure electrical impulses via electrodes placed on the scalp at an eye-popping rate of 2,000 times per second. That massive data flow is coupled with this pixel-level eye-tracking device and these tabs that will measure changes in the skin's electrical conductance.
Then we let you watch the ad. As you watch the ad, second by second, in fact 2,000 times a second, we look at your attention, your emotional engagement, your memory retention, and from that, we composite a measure of effectiveness second by second by second.
The neurophysiologist watches the brainwave patterns in real time. These squiggly lines provide a millisecond by millisecond printout of how this consumer's reacting to Daily Planet. But this isn't the whole story.
Looking at brain waves is beautiful, but it doesn't tell you much. So what we have done is we have broken it down into the three key parameters.
Those three parameters are attention, emotional engagement, and memory retention. Neuroscientists already know which part of the human brain corresponds to each of those parameters, and from those measures, they infer more information.
So I can tell you what parts of the ad kind of drove purchase intent. What are the parts of the ad when perhaps you talked about a new feature? The consumer's brain said, "Oh, really? That's novel and new." What are the parts of the ad the consumer really got? And what are the parts of the ad they were confused by?
The sensors are, well, more sensitive, and new generation software is specially designed. They actually reverse engineered it.
So what we did, we collected a whole bunch of ads. We analyzed the ones that resulted in sales neurologically. We got the neurological parameters associated with them, see how they clustered. And then what we did, we said, let's reverse engineer the algorithms from the ones that worked and the ones that didn't. So our algorithms that compute purchase intent were derived from marketplace successes and marketplace failures.
Pardeep says it's more science than art.
Based on what we know, we can very comfortably predict that these will result in sales increases or won't. I asked myself, how many of them stopped and listened to my brain and to my mind talking to them at 2,000 times a second? Because those that bother to listen, those products I will buy.